What is going on, everybody? Thank you for coming here for this introduction to a new series. And essentially, if you haven't figured it out by the title, or if you don't have a guess, so what it's going to be called is it's going to be called Cody's Campfire Stories. So I'm not sure if anybody's ever been a part of this themselves or seen it like in movies or in books, but essentially, campfire stories, they're kind of like these scary, spooky stories, kind of, like urban legends, like, oh, if you go out in the woods and you draw a circle on the ground and you sprinkle some salt and light a match, like the devil will come and you'll like say, hey, what up, bro, in the middle of the night, that kind of stuff. We're gonna do some similar stuff to this, but I'm gonna try to do personal experience that I have. I have a couple spooky experiences that personally happened to me, but this is also just going to be, like kind of like story time stuff that's happened in my life, some of my friends' stories, etc., etc. So without further ado, welcome to Cody's Campfire Stories. So this first one happened. I was hanging out with my buddy Evan and my buddy Zach, and we were out exploring abandoned buildings. So in the area that we live, it isn't too uncommon to see a bunch of abandoned buildings or houses really off the side of the road. So us being, the young little hooligans that we are, we would decide, oh hey, this is a cool abandoned house. We could go check it out. Nothing, not doing anything. We're not out there like doing drugs or killing people or like vandalizing anything. We just like to go and take pictures, see the aesthetic, etc., etc. So this particular night, we started the night around 10 o'clock. We went, we got food, we hung out, just doing normal stuff. We all worked together, so of course we talked about work. We talked about, what we were going to do the next day, as you normally do when you hang out with friends. And then around about 11 o'clock, we were like, hey, let's go and explore some abandoned houses. Because I was a little bit new to the friend group and they've done it before, so they had a bunch that they already knew where they were. And they knew like how to get to them and all that good stuff. So it was a pretty foolproof plan to go do some late night exploring. So we started going to a couple houses that were about an hour away from where we were and decided that once we got there, we would slowly work our way back in towards where we lived. And along the way, we passed like 5 or 6 abandoned houses that we decided, hey, we can go check this out. So the first couple, it's just your simple run-of-the-mill abandoned house where people have gone in, tore the stuff up, put holes in the wall. But it's always kind of cool because it kind of makes you wonder. Like, you go through in your head like, I wonder who used to live here. And you look at the stuff and you see it's still there. It's like, what happened that this house that just sits back in the middle of the woods, that these people just left and, left TVs, suitcases, just left all this stuff there. There are plenty of reasons. It could be squatters, it could be homeless people living there. There's plenty of reasons, but, it makes you wonder, I wonder what the circumstance, why this house is abandoned, or why it's sitting empty and why it has for so long. So later on into the night, it's about 2 o'clock in the morning, and there's this one house that they're like, oh, we've only ever been in it one time, and it sat off the main road. So if this is the main road, it sat like back here in the woods. I know this is a terrible way, but just imagine that this is the main road. Here's some woods, like all of this is woods, and the house sat like right here, right? And so we were there and we're like, oh, we'll do this one. So we waited for all the cars to by, and we circled back around, and then we drove off the side of the road and parked back behind the house. Now, instantly when we got there, it's really dark. Of course, it's 2 o'clock in the morning, and also being 2 o'clock in the morning, there wasn't a lot of traffic on the road, so it was weirdly quiet, a lot more quiet than you would expect to be out in the middle of the woods, because you'd expect to hear some animals, some stuff running around, especially, whenever it's summer. It's fairly warm out, so it would make sense that there could be, some small animals or like some birds or something active at those early morning hours. But there wasn't. It was just really quiet. We were sitting there, it's like, this feels a little weird, I'm not even gonna lie. And then we decided, all right, well, let's explore the house. It looks pretty cool, except it looked different than the rest of them. It was just a different style of house, and it looked like it was a little bit more structurally sound, but it looked like it was also a lot older at the same time. So then we got out and we decided, yeah, we'll go explore. We'll walk around first. And we got out and we were walking around the truck for a minute. And then me and my buddy Evan, we heard this weird growling noise. Now, it wasn't like how a dog growls or kind of like how a cat will kind of do that growl. It was just kind of like this deep, like guttural kind of a growl. We're like, that's weird. But you couldn't hear any animals. So like if something was walking around, you should have been able to hear it, but we didn't really hear anything. I was like, okay, that's a little strange. Then at that point, we decided, well, let's go ahead and get into the house. That way, if there's an animal out here, we would at least be inside, so we're not around the animal. So then we move our way inside and we're exploring. And the way the house is, you walk in the front door and everything goes left. So essentially, this was the path we took. We went into the living room and then it goes to like a dining room and then the kitchen, and then it keeps looping around to the right. And then you have another room. I'm not really sure what it was, but then there's a bedroom like back here. What was weird is you walk into this bedroom and then you look right. It's just this weird, really small bedroom, but in the very back corner, there's just this really small, almost like an entrance to a closet almost, except there's no door. And you see this very weird looking staircase. There's like 5 steps and it went up. It was like a 10-foot space that it went up. But then it immediately turned right around. So almost like a spiral staircase, but built wood, and it goes up and just turns immediately back around on itself. It's where you'd have to completely turn your body around to look up the rest of the stairs. And you look at it and you're immediately like, damn, if you were claustrophobic, you wouldn't want to go up those stairs. Quite frankly, I'm not really claustrophobic, but I didn't like the little bit of time that I went up the stairs because you literally had to like duck to get around because of how poorly it was designed. Once I realized that, I was like, all right, this is a little weird. But something in me was like, I'm kind of curious. I was like, first off, I'm kind of curious what the wall looks like, because the wall, you could see it was almost like it was soggy. Like if you've seen soggy paper, how you can kind of tell like it looks funny. That was kind of what the walls looked like. I was like, all right, I wonder what this looks like and how solid it is. So me, no idea. I just got curious. So I knocked like 3 good times on the wall, and immediately after you could hear me knocking, you started hearing like these very heavy and really loud footsteps above us, which we could only assume was in the attic. So then immediately I'm thinking, what's in the attic? And we're sitting there, we're like, okay, maybe. I was like, I might still peek up there. But then, knocked again, and then they got louder and they started sounding really heavier. And at that point, we were like, nope, we're getting out. So then, us, we were scared. So we ran out of the building, and then we're standing outside, see, okay, maybe we can see through the window. Let's see if something like looks out at us, or if somebody looks out, or like something or someone comes down. Don't know why we stuck around. Completely stupid, but we did. And we were sitting there. We're sitting there waiting to see just for something. And then we heard that same growl again. But this time it sounded like it came from the house. And it was that same deep, guttural, not really animal-like sound. We were like, nope, we're getting the hell out of here. And then we did, and we never really talked about it. We were like, all right, that was weird. We're gonna take a little bit of a break exploring abandoned houses, because quite frankly, weird shit like that is, it's weird and it's kind of a little disturbing. But what makes this even weirder is my friends went back about a month later to that same house, except this time they did it in the daylight, and they went upstairs into the attic to see what was up there. And said there's nothing up there, which, in a month's time, if it was an animal, it could have left. But they said there wasn't really a nest. Nothing was really broke. And for something to have been up there, one, it would have had to have been awake at 2 o'clock in the morning for the immediately response that it had to me knocking on the wall. But even besides that, in a month's time, if it was an animal or a human or whatever, there should have been some form of a sign that something was in the attic, whether it was living there, whether it was using the bathroom there, or just there temporarily. There should have been some sign, but there wasn't. And that was what was really weird about it. So now I still think about it. It makes me wonder what really was in the attic of that house. Anyway, so if you like this, I have about 4 more spooky stories that are a little bit more interesting. And one of them, I actually have a audio clip of this girl's voice whenever I was at an abandoned asylum. So that's pretty interesting. But anyway, if you like this, leave a like, comment, all that fun stuff. And honestly, thanks for now. This is actually a really fun time. Peace.